Hello one and all, welcome to the Astroflower reading for October. For the collective, this goes out to everybody out there. Basically it's a look at what's going on in the human race, how the energy is flowing through it, what sort of things to keep an eye out for, how it's going to be affecting you in a personal sign. Those readings will be coming out on Wednesday. It will be a time-stamped video for you of each individual sign for the October reading, in accordance to the collective reading. So October, an amazing time. There's going to be a lot of eclipses. There is a solar eclipse on the 25th. It's a partial eclipse. And this year we've only had partial solar eclipses, but we've had full lunar eclipses. And the lunar eclipse comes up in November. So we'll probably see how that sort of plays out by the end of the reading. The other thing which we have as well is there's a lot of planets going into Scorpio during this period as well. So you're going to have Mercury and Venus going in there as well. There's other things with Saturn going into Aries, which is going to try your sort of Capricorn element of you. So it's interesting to see how that plays out in the Astroflower, in the different sort of elements and things like that. So communication might be a little bit difficult for this October period between people, but we'll see. If you haven't seen the equinox readings, that goes into the 3 monthly. That goes from the 23rd of September going up to the 23rd of December. So you might want to have a go and look at that, because there is some. I'm really looking forward to this reading here. I'm really looking forward to this reading. So let's get on without any further ado. Let's just see what's going on with the overall energies here. I've never seen it so big. And it's big all the way through. So that means here we got the karmic messages, right? And how the universe sort of influence those karmic messages. It's a bit like how society influences us on an individual basis. It's how the universe influences the human experience, collective human experience. So it's it seems to be really full on. These are how, our ancestors are trying to sort of help us out and guide us through all of this and going forward on the collective front. So, and on the here and now, it's like there's a lot of things to do, like at one at a time. So it's almost like it's like a train station. Like there's one train coming in, you unload, that train's gone. Okay, another one coming in, unload. It's like that. It's almost like a 3-in-1 sort of scenario. There's a lot of traveling going on, but not necessarily going anywhere. So there's a lot of exchange going on. Let's just see what the overall energy is here for the collective. Don't say but do. That plays into that sort of Mercury going into Scorpio sort of scenario. And for all you Scorpions out there, sometimes communication can be a little bit difficult for you. But when you're, like human rights and getting to the root of things, that's really your sort of thing. You like to get to the root of things and find out really what's going on. And this is what it's about. So it's rather than say, let's find out what the root of this is all about. Nurturing and in the equinox reading, there was a real change of the way we do things, the way we put value on things. And I think this whole new sort of change is in this month here is going to need nurturing. And this is rather than saying, it's a case of doing. So on the collective front, this is where generally the general energy is going through is kind of, let's nurture this new wave of how to do things and just go ahead and do it. Let's just see what the karmic message is for us collectively in regards to relationships, how we interact with one another on a very social level. And this could be to do with love as well. So this could be to do with your partner, but also it's your family, your friends, but it's also your community. The place in where you're living. So like in London, the area in which I was living, I would consider my community. my village, as it were, you know, and then growing and then living outside in the countryside. It is the village. So it's concerning with that sort of thing. And how it is between humans. It's not forgiving, but it's a case of, if we're starting something new, and I think this is also in the way we respect one another, and respect everybody's point of view, even if it's completely opposite to what you think. It's good to have that opposite. Keeps everything in checks and balances. It keeps everything, you know, harmonious, as it were. But I don't think it's forgiving. I think it's more of a case of accepting. It's accepting home truths about ourselves, but also accepting home truths about the collective, about our relationships that are around us. Yeah, healthy boundaries. Yeah, totally. I go along with that. It is those healthy boundaries. It's realizing, you know, once you've got respect for another person, there is a limit that you will cross over, and then you will no longer be respectful towards them. And I think within our relationships, there has to be this common understanding. At the moment, it's a free-for-all. That's what it seems like, where you can say things and people, you know, that are very basic, and people can get really, really triggered really easily. But that's got to do with the pole shift. That's got to do with energy at the moment as well, because the energy is very, I don't want to say hit and miss, but sometimes it's really intense and sometimes it's really slow. Sometimes it's really light, and it's really defined between the changes. And that's what's making helping to contribute to the certain confusion on it. But here is overall the collective message, or the karmic message for our relationships, that realize your limits, realizing your healthy boundaries of what you're willing to project as respect for you, yourself, so others can then understand straight away when they go past the limit. And then, you know, if people are conscious enough, they will respect that limit. If they're not conscious enough, you may have to tell them, sort of turn around and sort of say, yeah, don't really get into that. Not my sort of thing, or it's a little bit too far down the line for me. You know, just very gentle. And if they still don't get it from there, you might have to sort of like draw them a diagram, you know, and that's where people need to sort of, get it together and grow up, I think. Let's see how the universe is influencing this karmic message. Sometimes you can have sometimes you can see lions with little, does of, baby antelope. I don't know. I think that for deer it's a doe, I think. So, but maybe I'll be that. You might want to correct me in the comments. But sometimes you'll see a lion just with them, and they're not going to eat the doe or eat the young antelope, simply because there's a certain respect for life as well. You can't just take what you want, and I think there's a valuable lesson here for all of us to realise what is those healthy boundaries. And I think they're trying to reinstate it through a bit of, natural process. So they're trying to make us understand when we're causing discomfort and pain to another person. I think that's what we're doing. And I don't think it's necessarily another person. I also think it's a relationship of how you have with trees and stuff like that. I'm constantly talking to trees and constantly talking to animals. So, and sometimes, yes, it is true. It is very refreshing talking to trees and animals when we're in this human race at the moment. So it's recognizing, they're helping us to recognize the limits of those boundaries where, so we can get rid of this painful episode, because the Ten of Swords is about the ending of a cycle, walking away from something, from those worries which were attacking them in the Nine of Swords. Those worries are flying away. They may have been painful moments between us as collective, and the division that we've had within society. Hopefully this will do a lot to mend that division. Let's just see how the guides, our ancestors are trying to influence the physical side of our relationships between us. Sharing and caring. So basically, I've renovated many houses in France. and I've enjoyed renovating every single one. And my neighbour may turn around and sort of say, "Can I borrow your cement mixer?" And I'll say, "Yeah, fine, no problem. Can I borrow your bit of scaffolding or whatever?" But there is this certain respect of sort of helping one another out. And I think this is where our guides are trying to make us realise that actually we're a lot stronger together. And let's just say between 3 houses, you could probably share a lawnmower. I know it seems a bit radical, but if you've got 3 houses next to each other as neighbours, why not? And this is trying to help you build a trusting relationship. I think this is what the guides are sort of telling you about. Yeah, convert those ideas into communication. Having those, having something concrete from ideas and actually putting them into place with a very, I wouldn't say childlike attitude, but it's a very light attitude, very easygoing attitude, I think. And recognizing that, that lawnmower needs to be looked after. So therefore it needs a bit of a service every now and then and stuff like that. But collectively, you can definitely work it out. You can get to know your neighbours a lot better. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out drinking with them and eating meals together every single night. But there could be a good way of actually living together with people that may not necessarily have the same political point of view as you or religious point of view as you. But at the same time, we live together. So maybe this is where the relationships can break down those barriers that were force barriers that were causing us the pain in the past, where we can actually start to learn to trust one another physically. That's what it seems like. It's very nice. Let's see how the guys are trying to influence the conversation within the relationships. So this is how we sort of think and the inner conversation that we have within us. But it's also that how we convert those ideas that we have into physical sort of communication with the people around us. So let's see how our ancestors are trying to sort of, you can be honest. Like some people say, many a true word is said in jest. So in comedy, you'll find a lot of truths that we laugh at and we kind of go, "Oh, blimey, that's touching close to the bone." And I do like that sort of humour as well. I like being poked at, having made fun of myself, because it's not all the time, but it's good and refreshing to actually kind of go, "Yeah, I'm a bit like that," and it's recognising that, it's allowing that, but also, home truths can be really painful, and I think this is what the pain we had in the past, that it tends to be, I'm telling you home truths to knock you down a level, which I think is a really bad thing. I don't think societies can prosper under that sort of thing. I think it's much more of a case of, it's good to see home truths within each other, and it's good to laugh about it. But there is a message as well that needs to be taken on board, and we kind of say, "Okay, yeah, I'll try and keep a cap on that," So it's trying to find the words that are giving home truths, but without actually degrading the person or the group or the community that is in front of us. It is understanding that we're all on this planet, no one's going anywhere, so we might as well just get on in one form or another. It doesn't necessarily mean we all have to go to each other's weddings and bar mitzvahs or baptizing or whatever, it just means there is a certain tolerance and sort of understanding, but it's recognizing when going through those healthy boundaries, recognizing when we're just going a little bit too far. Marrying, this is beautiful, lovely card for that. The Hierophant is all about, it's a teacher, so it's a way in which we convey that teachings to others without being condescending or teaching to another. But it's also, the Hierophant is it's almost like a religious thing, because he does things systematically in order to get to that higher consciousness. And that's what that staircase is, going up behind him to that sort of shining light that is behind him. And he's laughing about it because it should be fun. That's the thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be like pulling teeth, which we've been doing up to now. The change is here. We need to span out. We need to start nurturing a new way of conversing with one another, realizing that no one has the overall picture. Everybody has their own piece to the jigsaw. And if we start working it together, we'll be able to see the picture. How amazing would that be? So, it's a case of here is the conversation inside you in regards to the relationships and the general relationships and the larger relationships that are around us. And this could be with social media, how we interact with social media, how we interact with a governing body. Even if we don't agree with their politics, that's fine. You need to interact. You need to be positive. And if let's say like the governing body is not of your politics, they have to understand that they can't just sort of jump on your head either to keep it going or get things going. So there was a definite, ascension moment in regards to how we interact and how we deal with our relationships that are around us. Let's just see what's going on the financial side. I think this is going to be the interesting thing. Let's just see here. I think this is the communication risks to be a little bit secretive. So you might get in the financial world, in business, in projects, in jobs and stuff like that, that you may be presented a reality that's not really what is going on. And it's about time we sort of like, took the masks off in that respect. Yeah, in every respect, really. But, took the masks off and smell the concrete, man. Let's wake up sort of scenario. Let's just see how the karmic message is here. Value is only what you give it. So let's say you valued fruit and vegetables to eat, but you'd give a higher value to organic fruit and vegetables or locally produced fruit and vegetables, simply because you're providing for the community in the way of helping local businesses and stuff like that, but you're also helping the earth and how the earth sort of, not helping the earth, because we can't really help the earth. That's really egotistical to think that us humans have a control over a solar system. Time to grow up, people. We don't. A lot of the changes that are happening on this planet here are happening because of the magnetic fields that are flipping at the moment. And they can take hundreds and thousands of years to flip. It's not something that you wake up on Tuesday morning and all of a sudden the sun is rising in the opposite place. It's not how it works. It's a gradual process and it's a magnetic flip. So it's not necessarily a physical flip. So it's all to do with energy rather than physical sort of stuff at this present time. The physical flip, you'll have to look on Cymatic TV, go over there, check it out. We're doing stuff on that, about that over there. And here it's basically sort of saying it's now the time to define what you really give true value to. So if you're going to give value to businesses that are honourable, that are straight, that are open, that are all those sort of things, you're going to change the value of money. And I think this is where we move on to the value of respect. Yeah, exactly. There's, let's just say you're a massive businessman or business person, you're a massive business person and you're earning billions and billions and billions. I'm not sure you'd really want the system. There might be some of them, but the majority of them wouldn't want things to change because they'd lose that. But let's just say some billionaires turn around and sort of said, look, on this business here that I'm making billions, everybody uses it. I'm just going to give it to everybody. No one has to pay for it anymore. The only thing we'd have to pay for is the upkeep or the development of that business. And that's the only thing we have to do. So it can be a lot easier. But rather than paying for loads of other things that tie you into systems that are, Anyway, it's about time we sort of patterned it up. So it's a case here is that we've got to learn to realise that there's not trying to beat the old system. It's a case of trying to build a new one. Build something that's completely different, that's built on respect and everything like that. Europe was built upon It was initially tried to be built upon a social idea of treating people, how we treated one another, having a social agreement to actually like respect between people. And no one could agree because it was politicians involved. So actually then they came up with a thing called the Coal and Steel Agreement. So the entire European Union was built upon finances and trade agreements after that, which the human aspect got lost in it, unfortunately. And Europe is struggling with that side of things at the moment because the human element is coming up, because we're moving into the age of Aquarius. So there's no point trying to beat something that's already fading out. The idea here is, on this card here, is walk away from those parts of the system that are causing headaches and walk forward to something that's completely different. And that is done through what's in your pocket and how you use what you've got in your pocket. We have an enormous amount of power if we realize that. And once we start instigating that in our everyday life, it becomes even more powerful than the vote that you cast once every 4 years. So, yeah, let's get into how the universe is trying to influence this, walking away from confrontations or conflicts that causes headaches that are not worth winning. Let's just see how the universe is trying to influence that. Okay, so there's profit and loss in a business. Yeah, I think the way we measure these profit and loss, maybe we have to put in another element, which is gain, which is not necessarily profit, but it's a case of how our business actually contributes. That definitely wanted to come out. The World card, a new cycle. This is how this company contributes to the greater well-being, not just of the human race, but also of everything else that is around us. Trees, ants, bees, birds, dogs, cats, squirrels, the whole lot. We're all here together. Let's enjoy it. So I think here is trying to encourage the human race to look at things maybe a little bit differently, to start this cycle in a new way, and encourage the idea that it should be rather than just profit loss, it should be profit and loss according to gain. And this is where we could build in maybe the respect for one another. Yeah, this is the start of a passionate journey. We've got to be passionate about it. If we really want, if you're honest to yourself, if you really want to help and get this place sorted, protesting and everything like that is all very well, but I don't think that's going to change anything. I think we need to change what we do on an individual basis, on a daily basis. And I think that's really important. The power is in your hands. And this is what it's sort of saying here. It's you who decides the rhythm. It's you who decides the passion that we put into life. And I think this is what the universe is sort of saying here, that there may be another way of defining whether a business is successful or non-successful. Let's just let's go see how our ancestors are influencing it, this karmic message on a physical level. With this new way of doing things, they're talking about new technology here. I see. I'm willing to go the electric route, or I'd rather go the hydrogen route. So basically, the electrolysis of water, which separates the oxygen and hydrogen. You can use the hydrogen in a motor, and therefore you add oxygen to it, and you only produce water that then goes back into the system. Then that gets, it's a closed system in a way. It's called the Joe water cell. Go check it out. And I think here is they're sort of saying that's very possible. But what we need to do is we need to change our technology a bit. And I'm working on a processor for like a computer chip, a processor that processes through light rather than a transformer, rather than having a resistor in the system, rather than having resistance, which causes heat, which causes energy loss. All of a sudden, maybe we're going to get to a technology where our small electrical devices absorb the electromagnetic field that is around us, like Tesla uses it to produce and have a flow through the technology, and then just flows out into the natural, emits a natural magnetic field into the general electromagnetic field. So the item in question will be using very little in the way of electricity. So it has to be very free flowing as much as possible. And these are the guys here, they're trying to bring this in. It's not necessarily how we produce the electricity, it's how we use it. And electricity has been used for so long. A fair exchange. This is what it needs to be. This is exactly what I was talking about. A technology that has a fair exchange. I have a very good way of doing a computer chip through light. If anyone wants to invest in that idea, give me a call, because I can run you down the ways in which it can be done. So it's a fair exchange. And I think here is rather than sort of, electricity. So as I said, electricity has been used for a very, very long time. There's batteries that we found in Iraq, in those sort of regions there, in the old Mesopotamian region, that was producing electricity. The question is, and no one seems to have asked this question, which is like the elephant in the room, what were they using that electricity for? Let's just say around the Egyptian pyramids, they were using the electrolysis to combine gold and silver together to coat the pyramids, and which we only learned about a very short period of time, about 120 years ago, or we remembered how it's done. So there is a definite new technology seems to be coming to the fore, rather than just trying to produce electricity for the energy-vor items that we actually have. It's changing the technology we have so it actually consumes next to nothing, and collectively we need to get on with one another in order for this to happen. Let's just see how the guys are trying to influence the conversation that is within us on the business and jobs and financial sort of side of life. I think this is, let's just say what they're trying to do, they're saying support one another. Okay, that's what the message is coming through. Support one another. So let's just say someone had a really good idea for a new technology. Let's just use that thing. All right, someone had a really good idea for a new technology. Rather than allowing other big businesses to kind of beat that down because they'd lose their marketplace, we should support them against people trying to stop things coming to the surface, and encourage them, or even invest in them in this new sort of technology on a very small scale, as an individual, and which will help this this new technology to come through. And I think this is going to force the system ourselves, the governing system, to change. This month is a real changing period, and I think this is going to last right up to Christmas, right up to the winter solstice, basically. So that's, this is where helping is. The fruits are ready, people. The fruits are ready, and we've really got to take this on board and start patterning it up, as they say. Start growing up. Stop messing about. Stop, getting triggered easy. Just leave the trigger happy people in their own sand pits, and allow them to just grow up in their own time. But let's move on. Let's start collecting those collective fruits that we have, that we can deliver something very concrete to everybody in the near future. It's, you play your part, I play my part, we all play our part individually. Without you, this is not going to happen. This is not going to happen without you. So I'm trying to help you, or I'm almost trying to convince you that, let's be honest, I'll be honest with you. I'm almost trying to convince you that this is the way forward, because I think you realize it's a natural progress or evolution that we need to undertake. And it's very selfish from my side to encourage other people to get together and work this together. Because I want the success for everybody, because it's going to make my life a lot better. It's going to make the life for my kids a lot better. It's going to make your life a lot better, your kids' life a lot better. We could do so much, but we have to nurture the small ideas. This here, the Seven of Pentacles, as you can well see, here, I'll just show you there. Seven of Pentacles, he's nurturing these fruits here, okay, or these seeds, as it were, okay? And through the fair exchange, which we get on that one there, through the fair exchange here, you know, we're going to get to the point where the fruits are there. And we have to nurture this fruit, these collection of ideas, collection of you know, successes and fruits and possibilities and new ideas as it goes forward, which comes from what we've done already. And this is a second wave that we're putting in place. And I think this will come out by the end of the month. Okay. So, which will come out with the partial eclipse, and more than anything else on the 9th, I think it's the 9th or the 12th of November, where we get the lunar eclipse. And I think that's going to be the defining moment. So, all right, let's find out what's going on in the overall energies. This is a chance. This is one of those chances in the human existence that is there. Everyone's been getting that in the weekly readings. If you haven't been watching your weekly readings on this channel, please come and join us. Your support would be highly welcome, because YouTube are they're only showing our videos to a possible of 15 people in a day on a video. That's just the possible chance for them to click on our videos. YouTube shut us off, to be honest. They've completely shut us down. So we need your support. Share this video with everyone. Share this reading with everyone, because if we get on the same page, it is going to be beautiful. Okay? I want to do another extra little thing here. We're going to use Le Normand, which is French for the Normans. So let's just do that. What we're going to do is we're just going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of the October on the relationship. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks on the financial sort of side, because this gives us a different sort of texture. Let's just go for the overall energy here. What's going on here? The scythe. It's time to harvest, and I think it's time to harvest that respect that we should naturally have grown within all of us. Yeah. So in the first week, it's going to be difficult. The birch and the broom, really nasty card, really horrible card, but it ties into the 10 of swords. So it's sort of saying we need to be, we need to whip this out of us in a way. Yes, it's going to be painful. But no pain, no gain, as they used to say back in the 80s. We could do this, people. We could really do this, people. So let's just see. So that's the first week. I think the first week is almost sort of like just getting the grips with what we've been doing over the last thousands of years. Let's just see what's going on the second. Oh, this is beautiful. A nice bit of luck. And I think this luck is part of this nurturing as well. I think this luck is something that we develop. You know, it's created, it's nurtured. It's not. It doesn't just fall from the sky. If you learn how to swim, you might have the luck to survive a ship sinking because you can swim, and you might kind of go, "That was lucky. I learned how to swim." Well, if you were listening to your consciousness, it would have been created, it would have been nurtured, it would have been developed, and it comes from those ideas and that exchange that we can have between each other. Yeah, the fox. I think this ties in with this more than anything else. And I think this is harvesting this sort of side. The fox can be quite a wily character, and you've got to be a little bit wary of it. But a fox is also, it's also a very social animal, really. Not only amongst them, but also with humans and stuff like that. So here, I think it's a case of, we should be within that understanding and that teaching of how we can go forward. That fox idea is just be wary of people who may be using this opportunity to con people. So just be a little bit wary of that. And I think that's why I said it ties into this here. I think those healthy boundaries will be put to test in the third week of October, generally around us within the relationships. Okay, let's see how it moves on to this Ace of Swords, which is that clear thinking, that victory. This is what's coming out of all of this general reading. This clear thinking, new ideas. Look at her circular staircase there. Is the same staircase as the Hierophant, but it's actually developed out of those ideas which come from here, which are born out of those natural healthy boundaries and the past that may have caused us a bit of pain and stuff like that. So the opportunity is there. Look at that. Right next to the Hierophant, we've got the staircase going on. There is an ascension moment. It's moving on. There's two paths, but they're actually going to pretty much the same place. There is one, you can go one via the moon and the other one via the sun, basically. Discovering the unknowns. And I think that's where the fox come in. It's exposing that sort of side, but it's also exposing that happiness and that joy that we can actually perceive in the going future. Let's just see how it's going on our business side of life, on the financial side of life. In the first week, that unseen. What was I talking about? This is the pathway here, I think. Here, so you got the moon is on the unforeseen. I think this is what's coming to the surface. And this is what's going to realise at the end of the week here. It's that moon, it's that cycle, it's that fertility as well. It's all that driving rhythm which we see in the Knight of Wands. We have that opportunity to connect with the cycles of the moon, which is that lunar eclipse I was talking about in November. So that's sort of preparing the ground for it in the coming month. Let's just see what's going on in the second one. The storks. I seem to be getting that when I read for myself. I get a lot of the stork at the moment, and that is it's all to do with timing as well. But it is also the harmony, because storks tend to stay with each other for life. It's the ray of sun of that idea. It's that shining light of the Hierophant that comes through in the middle of that. It's that nurturing of a new generation. It's passing from one to the old. It's being respectuous between two. It's very much the Six of Pentacles. It's really reiterating that. And this is what I'm talking about, the wonders of the generation of the past generation, all those possibilities. And this is what those fruits are all about. We have these wondrous possibilities within our technological world, really. If we just stop, big business and also governance just sitting on people from developing, because the status quo want to stay in place. That has to end. We cannot progress forward with that in life. Okay, let me just change that around the other way. I'd just like to see it like that. And it's realizing that beautiful possibilities and looking at life in a very childlike sort of way in order to keep things really simple within the business world. Okay. And there it is. It's all about networking. It's all about connecting with one another. That garden cage, as it were. It's a place where people can connect with one another. It's where those ideas can come into fruition. and that we can actually choose. On this side here, it's quite funny. There's only one stairway going up here, and it starts off on one stairway and then goes into two. So I think this is that whole tolerance side that we have, and it's a realization of that tolerance side and seeing the undercurrent, the moon side of the business that's coming through. And that's going to create a new network of businesses that are going to bring a complete change to the human society that is around us. Okay, that is your monthly reading. I would really love your support here. So subscribing and clicking that bell would be a marvelous thing to do. I would so much appreciate it. If you've already done that, thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching this video all the way, or this reading all the way through, to get the complete picture on October. As I said, we will have the monthly readings coming out in a timestamp on Wednesday as well. And that goes into the individual cases of the star signs. That's much more on the day-to-day things and how it dovetails with this general reading here. Share this video, share this reading on all social medias. If we can get this movement going and this understanding, this consciousness that can play into it, we can change the world. We can really change the world, people. It will be brilliant. And I can't do it without you. You can't do it without me. Let's just do it together. Okay? So there you go, fellow AstroFlower readers. Thank you very much for being here. It's been an absolute beautiful reading. I do love doing the collective readings. There's loads of links in the description below. You know all the rest of the beat, bam, boom. Don't forget, you got earth signs on Thursday night, Friday night, fire signs, water signs, Saturday night, fire signs, Sunday night, air signs. They're the weekly readings that are coming out. On the Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we get off the wall sort of videos in the future. We're going to be going a lot more into the AstroFlower, how it works, and also energy and stuff like that. We also have our sister channel, Somatic TV. I probably talk far too long anyway. So, in the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun. So please do enjoy.